Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Supply Chain Insiders, a show where we research, do analysis, and various insights for the supply chain world. Today, we're going to be talking about faster growth using research. How are you doing today, Michael?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. How are you? It's
Doing
exciting
great.
times, man. It's really exciting times. It really is. I was just doing some research on imports and like looking at 15 different, you know, sources to try and figure out what the heck is going on. It's
Right.
so hard sometimes, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No, it is. You got to pull together a lot of data sometimes and then bring it down and distill it and get to the right information. It's a big
Well,
part.
and most of the stuff, if you're going to go out there and you're going to find like people like to paint the data with a perspective,
Right.
right? And sometimes it's their agenda or disproving someone else's agenda, and so you've got to have that filter on there as well. Unfortunately,
Absolutely.
in many
Yeah.
cases,
Right.
but
Yep.
I have a feeling you're going to tell me how to avoid that type of stuff.
Right. Well, specifically, we work with companies on business growth,
Yeah,
partnering with companies to help them with rapid growth. And
yeah,
one of the big things is, I'm going to share my screen here, is really who are you going after and your messaging, right? So
right.
hopefully you'll see a chart with as an example here. Do you see that?
I see it perfectly. I'm stunned that I shouldn't just be randomly spraying messages all over social media and LinkedIn and stuff at anybody who will maybe click on it, regardless of what they do and what I'm selling. That's not a good plan. Are you trying to tell me
No,
that's not an effective plan?
it's not an effective plan for rapid growth. No, you could
All
spend a
right.
whole lot of wasted time doing the spray and pray approach, which we've talked about. But this
Yeah.
one, I wanted to share a story.
Yeah.
I spent 14 years of my career with Trimble, TMW Systems, and Appian Logistics Software.
I
Appian
heard.
acquired twice, TMW Systems and then Trimble. But it was a 14-year journey. I was the third employee at Appian. The first thing we did was went after private fleets, right? With the
Yeah.
solution for fleet routing, that was our very first thing, digital mapping and fleet routing. And we captured major market share there, right? But how did we get to those companies? It was research. Who are the private fleets? We pulled data from about 15 different places, right?
Yeah.
We're like, okay, here's the private fleets. Now, how do we position ourselves against RoadNet, against Descartes, against manual dispatch, et cetera? And we knew what the pushbacks were going to be, how to answer those questions. So we did private fleet. We got a lot of companies that were doing private fleet that also had some 3PL business. So we moved into 3PL. Who are the 3PLs? Let's go after that with, and in that front, doing fleet routing optimization plus optimizing the number of rigs you need with slip seating and rolling DOT and all of that. That's another thing, right? But we would optimize the routes, optimize the assets, and then let them bid with a much more efficient bid, right? And then we got into
Right.
those fleets, and they're like, well, we also do interstate, over the road, straight out, 3 to 5 days. We did continuous move planning, right? They're coming back every 7 or 8 days, right? And you're doing continuous move plans with backhauls and so forth. So, but the thing about all of that was, if I would have gone after private fleets with a continuous move planner, that would have gone nowhere, right? Totally different
Mm.
business, totally different
Yeah.
model, but we didn't do that. We knew what our competitors were or apathy and not doing anything. And we captured that and moved. And we ended up working with 70 of the top 100 trucking companies in America. So just an example of having the right information and what it can do for you.
So you didn't just use this information right here, right? I mean, this information that I'm looking at right here is incredibly important anyways to know the different sizes of those markets and how big they are then because you got different I mean, you got different size fleets, but then you got different markets that they're in, obviously, which isn't even geographical. But then you went further to see, okay, who's actually already planning their loads or using some sort of software or some sort of system now, and then qualifying those leads from there, right? A much tougher sell to remove a legacy system and implement your own, right? So you have your different levels of projected incomes, projected sales, close rates, right? Success rates, et cetera, but also your first go-to-market target market, right?
Right. The go-to-market strategy, the messaging. Let's just take UPS RoadNet, for example. We
Yeah.
knew how to answer, are you struggling with this? So we had a model that was less expensive, a newer architecture, and we had better customer service. We went at that when we knew they had RoadNet, we would ask qualifying questions. Are you struggling with getting the support you need? Would you like this? And UPS eventually spun them off and sold them, but that's just an example. We knew they, were in that market. We'd ask some qualifying questions. We knew what the pushbacks were going to be, and we knew how to answer it. But first things first was, who are the fleets? Then how do we position ourselves? Those two things right there, honestly, if you don't get that right, you're going nowhere.
Yeah, you're absolutely going nowhere. I mean, and that's with everything. And it's an exceptional insight because we spend so much time and have spent so much time over the years training sales reps and training biz dev people those qualifying questions, but we're not as focused on understanding what the answers are to those questions, so to speak, before you ask them, which is a huge advantage and very, very realistic to obtain that advantage with enriched data like you're talking to me about, right?
Exactly.
Which
Yes.
we may or may not have another slide like that too.
Yeah, and then
I'm guessing.
we have trucking tower leads with over 14,000 executives in the database, right? That
Ah,
is by title. That's extremely important. Are they a
right.
VP of HR? Are they a VP of operations? Are they CFO, CEO, et cetera, right? That part is extremely important as well. And we've done that research to combine fleets data with contact data to bring that together. And you could pick and choose and slice and dice who you want to target and what titles and what areas and so forth. So that's a big part of what we're doing with trucking tower leads.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're recently qualified contacts. They're not like 5 years old or anything like that, right?
Right, exactly.
Because I mean, we all
Verified.
know that, right? I mean, just if you're in this business, you know somebody who's been in 3 different positions over the last 7 years.
Right.
You know multiple people. If you only know one, then you really aren't involved in this in this industry, right?
Right. Absolutely. No doubt. And
Yeah,
another thing we did recently, we did a show on this. We did ELD market share reporting and analysis. And, we used automation to get a lot of information from
sure.
407 different fleets.
Well, this is what I was alluding to on the last one there. Just knowing the fleets and who to contact is important, and understanding how to ask qualifying questions is important. But if you know who the competition is inside that target customer prior, then you understand what those key questions are and what those answers are going to be.
Right. Right.
You understand the competition and you should understand your advantage, knowing the data, knowing the players that are out there, knowing who's using what, and even deeper than this, why if 40% of those fleets using Samsara on this specific one versus Omnitrax. What is that? Is there an advantage between there, or is it marketing dollars, or is it cost factors, et cetera? All those enriched data points you can get through trucking tower leads.